Welcome to Understanding How to Plan and Oversee Electrical Work Activities Electrotechnical Award Unit Overview. This is for City and Guilds 5375 Unit 105/505 Level 3 and also for EAL 7345 Unit NETK3-03 and again Level 3 Award. Okay, so let's take a look at this unit overview for understanding how to plan and oversee electrical work activities. The aim of this unit is it's designed to enable learners to understand the practices and procedures used when planning electrical installation and maintenance work activities. Its content is the knowledge needed by learners to underpin the application of skills for overseeing and organising the work environment. So this unit will identify everything that you need to understand when you're considering the overview and the planning for any job that you may undertake. Throughout the Electrotechnical Award, City and Guilds and EAL have the same assessment criteria. This is one of the units where it's slightly different, the way that City and Guilds and EAL actually assess the methods. So let's take a look at each of the assessment methods depending which awarding body you were registered on. Let's first take a look at City and Guilds assessment method. So first of all, if you're undertaking the City and Guilds Award, the first part will be you will do an online multiple choice assessment, which is 505 at the time of this being recorded. It's closed book, 40 minutes, and the pass mark is approximately 60%. Outcome 1 will have 10 questions. Outcome 3 will have 6 questions. So that means outcome 1 will account for 63% of the mark, and outcome 3 will account for 37% of the mark. Outcome 2 is covered by a project which is open book, and the project covers all of the learning outcomes not covered by the exam. The multiple choice online assessment is closed book, meaning you're not allowed to take a book in with you. If you're undertaking the EAL assessment route, then the first one is a multiple choice exam. It's closed book, 90 minutes, pass mark 60%. However, this exam covers all of the examinable outcomes from units 3 and 4, so the examination is combined together. The second part is again a project, and the project covers all of the learning outcomes not covered by the exam. The online multiple choice exam is closed book, and yet again the project itself will be open book. Okay, so now let's take a look at the way the unit is made up. So we start off with learning outcome number 1. Learning outcome number 1 is understand the requirements for liaising with others when organising and overseeing work activities. So this unit is all about that communication method, how you discuss as you're looking to progress on the projects that you're undertaking. The assessment criteria: firstly, describe techniques for the communication with others for the purpose of, and then there's 4 aspects: for motivation, for instruction, for monitoring, and cooperation and teamwork. So it's talking about the methods you use for that communication process. Assessment criteria 2: describe the methods of determining the competence of operatives for whom they are responsible. Number 3, specific procedures for rescheduling work to coordinate with changing conditions in the workplace and to coincide with other trades. And outcome 4, specify organisational procedures for completing the documentation that is required during work operations. For this outcome, the range includes for others, customers, clients, site managers, major contractors where they're appropriate, subcontractors where they're appropriate, other services, the public, and employer. So it's looking at large jobs and small jobs. The range continues on with methods of checking competency cards, like CSCS cards, GIB cards, checking technical qualifications, possibly the use of written references from previous employers, informal monitoring of performance on site, and also the competent person scheme registration. So all of them areas for checking people's backgrounds in relation to the electrical industry. The final part of the range is relating to organisational procedures, things such as variation orders, day worksheets, timesheets, site diaries, requisitions and delivery notes, and gaining an understanding of how all of them are used. Now we move on to learning outcome number 2, which is understanding the requirements for organising and overseeing the work programmes. Let's take a look at the assessment criteria linked to this learning outcome. The first of the learning outcomes is about being able to describe how to plan and implement various aspects such as work allocations, duties of operatives for whom they are responsible or you are responsible essentially, and coordination with other services and personnel. In learning outcome number 2, we're talking about stating the procedures for carrying out work activities that will A. maintain the safety of the work environment, B. maintain cost effectiveness, and C. ensure compliance with the programme of work. In outcome number 3, identify the industry standards that are relevant to the activities carried out during the installation of electrical systems and equipment, including current additions. Number 4, evaluate within the scope of the work programme and operations the responsibility of themselves or yourself and others. In learning outcome number 5, identify the procedures for dealing with change to an original contract specification. In learning outcome 6, identify installations that require specialist advice or guidance, such as hazardous installations and installations outside the scope of BS 7671. In outcome number 7, explain how the work completion time is estimated, taking into account influential factors. And in outcome 8, state the possible consequences of not A. completing work within the estimated time, B. meeting the requirements of the programme of work, C. using the specified materials, and D. installing materials and equipment as specified. The range for this outcome includes being familiar with current edition of industry standards such as the Management of Health and Safety Regs, Health and Safety at Work Act, Electricity at Work Regs, Construction Design and Management, BS 7671 requirements for electrical installations, BSEN graphical symbols, Employment Rights Act, Data Protection Act, the Equality Act and the Human Rights Act. And all of them is an awareness of the current information in relation to industry standards. The range continues by looking at procedures that include things like variation orders and day worksheets and what implications they may have to work programmes. Learning outcome 3 looks at understanding the requirements for organising the provision and storage of resources that are required for the work activity. The assessment criteria for learning outcome 3, number 1. The learner can interpret the installation specification work programme to identify resource requirements. Number 2. Interpret the material schedule to confirm that materials available are the right type, fit for purpose in the correct quantity, and suitable for the work to be completed cost effectively. The learner needs to be able to specify the storage and transportation requirements for all materials required in the work location, and to be able to specify procedures to ensure the safe and effective storage of materials, tools and equipment in the work location. The final range item refers to resources, which includes materials, components, plant, vehicles, equipment, labour, tools, measuring and test equipment. I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview in understanding how to plan and oversee electrical work activities and the knowledge that you will gain for this particular unit as you progress through your electrical apprenticeship. Thank you very much for taking your time out to watch this video. Bye for now.